Matthew Stafford reveals his future. Also, how the Rams can clinch a playoff berth this week. And should they draft this quarterback? That's coming next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you want to support every single episode, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Podcast listeners, write us a review, read on the show. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleach Report, SI, Dodgers Nation, LA Sports Report. And as always, I'm joined by the Rams pre, half, and post-game show host for the Rams flagship radio station, ESPN 710 LA. He's in his 11th season covering your Los Angeles Rams, the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. You can follow him on X at Travis Rogers. And on today's episode, how can the Rams clinch the playoffs this week? Also, Davante Adams makes a very bold statement about his future. Matthew Stafford talks about his future. And a analyst suggests that the Rams should draft the potential most likely Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza. So we'll talk about that and something with Puka Nacua in the locker room. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. All right, Travis. So after the game, Puka Nacua at his locker started to go live on IG, and then a couple of his teammates said that you couldn't do that, and then Puka Nacua said back, "Oh, I'm not showing any players," and this and that. I mean, the Rams have a very strict policy. You cannot go live from the locker. To me, I look at this a couple different ways. Superstars get superstar treatment, but in Sean McVay's culture, it is a very team-oriented. It's we, not me. I'm pretty sure if Aaron Donald were there, he would do two things, either come and snap the phone or grab it and start flexing. I don't know which one he would have done, but I'm kind of hoping that just talking to you, I'll kind of get my take on this because I can't really get firm on it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I look here. When I saw all that, the first thing, this is what qualifies as a scandal in Rams land. That this is something that we're like, oh, look, he's not doing the thing that the Rams do. Think about all of the crazy nonsense, wild, this guy doing this thing or that thing or calling out this teammate or doing all. It's like the guy picked up his phone when he shouldn't have. Okay. I mean, if that's the end of the world in the Rams universe, then the Rams got a pretty tight universe. That is a very good indicator. Look, Puka's a star. Puka wants to live like a star. Puka wants to have I didn't say wants to have. Puka does have a big personality. He wants to share it with the rest of the Rams fans out there. But this is probably one of those things that's like, yo, bro, put the phone down. And he probably went, okay. And it won't happen again. Like, this is how buttoned up and how professional the Rams are, that they just really don't have messy stuff.
I agree. I mean, if I had to pick whether or not it was serious or a nothing burger, I would definitely veer towards the nothing burger. But LA sports fans, you remember that it was D'Angelo Russell who was recording Nick Young secretly, and he was talking about infidelity and his girlfriend, Iggy Azalea. So
Iggy Azalea, that's who it was. Yeah,
I know you knew. Don't act. Okay. Yeah. You probably look on your morning walk on your playlist. Fancy's probably your jam. Stop it.
Yes.
But
yes.
The thing is, when you kind of are going live like that, and I've seen this in the Dodgers clubhouse, all of a sudden, nothing's happening. And then, one person says something that, you can't delete it. The internet's forever. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where, I think it's a nothing burger, but it also can be something that could be potentially dangerous. And I think that if you're Sean McVay, you probably have a 30-second talk with him. But the thing about Puka is he's not like an Antonio Brown, right?
No.
Right? No. And you don't never get that sense from him. He is a very team-oriented guy, loves his teammates. The dude is as a madman, he's serious. He can kind of play a little bit of a goofball sometimes. But he's different. Like, I don't know if you know this. I mean, you probably do. But every time he walks into the game, he's watching LeBron James highlights from his phone every single game. That's his tradition. So he's an interesting guy to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure that there was, like you suggested, a very brief conversation between him and somebody that probably said, hey, man, we're good, right? Like, we're not going to do that again. And he's probably like, yeah, we're good. No problem. Look, I like it. I like that this guy has a little flavor to him. I like that this guy is not as just right down the center of the fairway, as buttoned up as anyone else, that he will kind of do the thing that everybody goes, it's, knock it off, or whatever the response to it is, because the Rams have so many guys that are just pros. And not that Puka isn't, but he's got a personality, right? And I like that we got to see it a little bit.
I do too. I think only thing I would have an issue with is like, you're like kind of low-key dismissing your teammate when he tells you the rule, and you're kind of saying, no, but I'm not showing anyone. You know what I mean? If you just heard it, was like, all right, I got you, and it's over. I kind of would have preferred that.
You know what it reminds me of? And I have older kids. My kids are in their 20s. And it's like one of those, sometimes even an adult in their 20s, but is still kind of a kid. Like when you say, hey, dude, I thought we're not doing that. No, it's not that. It's this. It's like, just don't. And I have a feeling it's one of those where his teammates in this case were like, the parents like, hey, man, we're not doing this. No, I'm not doing what. It's just like you kind of get caught and you don't want to say that you got caught. So you just pretend that you weren't doing what you were doing.
I still do that to my parents now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you on that. Trust me, I totally get it. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. So let's get down to some news for this week. Week 15, the Rams are one of three teams, the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, and the Los Angeles Rams can clinch a playoff berth this week. The Rams at 10-3, you've got to win, and you look at kind of where they're at. If they win in week 15, you would basically put yourself in a good spot the following week if you beat the Seahawks. But if you win and you're the Rams, you really look at the playoffs after week 15, which is something that you really can't say about a lot of teams in the league right now. But also last couple of years, it was coming down to the wire. So it just shows that this is just a very different season for the Rams.
Yeah, no, they can accomplish at least one of their goals, this weekend. Win the game and you're in the playoffs. Win your next two games, and depending exactly on what San Francisco does along the way, you probably are very likely to win your division if you can beat Seattle, because now you're 2 games clear of Seattle and you hold the tiebreaker. They're not going to catch you. So that's really good news. And we'll see how the rest of it shakes out. We'll see what happens with Green Bay. You see what happens with Chicago. There's a scenario that exists where you can start checking these boxes by the time you do get to week 16, 17, 18. Maybe you can make some different sorts of choices. Now, that choice could be, if we're the number 1 seed, do we really want to not play our guys for 3 weeks? Take some time off, and you're going to get a bye. So Sean McVay at least potentially could have some decisions to make. But this is good. What it does do is it gives you a little bit of a cushion. It gives you a little bit of if a guy needs an extra week, you give him an extra week. It's not we got to have it. And like you said, D-Mac, this is so different from what we've seen them do the last couple of years, where they had to just fight like crazy just to get in at the wire. This is a very different animal where they can start checking boxes, before, we still got 2 weeks until Christmas. That's a pretty impressive season for sure.
No doubt about it. And I think what makes it interesting, especially this year in the NFL, with the teams that are vying for that top spot, is wins and losses are so key and critical at this part of the season that a win and you're in, a win and you clinch the postseason, and then it becomes winning the division, getting the bye, finish with the top seed. You lose, and it opens the door to lose the division, and doomsday scenario, everything goes catastrophic, which we both know it will not.
Right.
You don't make the playoffs, right? So it's something that's extremely unlikely, but I think that with all these goals in mind, the window they have right now, I think the expectation for this year is not the expectation for last year or the year before that. It's more 2021 expectations. And I think that that's something to really be front of mind this week. It's about TCB and going 1-0 every week until we get that bye.
I totally agree, because and in particular because of where you might have to go. Right. If the other best teams in football were all inside or in the South, or, Florida teams or whatever it may be, then you kind of go, all right, whatever. But think about if they don't win the division, right? If they're not the top seed, the places they could end up: Lambeau Field, Soldier Field, Philadelphia, Seattle. These are all cold, wet, outdoor environments. And even Detroit, right? I know Detroit's inside, which helps a little bit, but that's a tough place to play. So this not only gives you the advantage, it gives you the advantage of not having to go into these places. And Matthew Stafford inside at SoFi Stadium, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, good luck figuring that out the way that they're playing right now. Now, you go out to Chicago and it's 10 degrees and it's blowing wind and snowing or sleet or whatever it is. What the Rams do really well becomes much more difficult to do. And so, there's a lot to. They win the next 2 weeks, I think they're home free. Lose these next two, you're going on the road. It really, they got a little 2-game season because they're going to beat Atlanta, or they might not even matter if they don't. And then you got Arizona at the end. Arizona quit last week. So what's it going to look like 3 weeks from now? So we'll see.
That's a really great point. I mean, even though this is a year where, I forgot who said it, where the Rams look like the only surefire bet to be a Super Bowl contender right now, even though they're kind of sticking out, it is a year where home field could be more valuable than most years because of the other teams you could be potentially playing where they're at, the stadiums there. And it's not like, oh, Arizona's really good this year, right? Or the Saints are really good, or the Falcons are really good, or the Vikings. I mean, indoor stadiums, teams that you're not especially afraid of their crowds, right? And then you add the success rate of Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford playing at home, playing at SoFi Stadium, and it's so incredibly important. So I totally agree with you. But coming up next, we're going to talk about this love fest. We got a love fest brewing right now between Matthew Stafford and Davante Adams. And Matthew Stafford talked about his future with the Rams. So did Davante Adams. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
There's no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, right? Especially during the holidays, because right now Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans, 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It is the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it the full Scrooge treatment. And what makes this even better is how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service, right? It feels good knowing that you're not overpaying just to stay connected. The service is fast, it's super reliable, even on the go. Setup only takes a couple of minutes. You can bring your own phone in, you keep your own number, no problems at all. So turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop unlimited Mint plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Tax and fees, initial plan term only. Greater than 35 gigs may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Now the #1 sports podcast network. Travis, I wonder if Puka Nacua is going to go live in the locker room with his Mint Mobile. I mean, he probably...
Possible.
I mean, you saw the terms there. It could be a good fit. But in our next segment here, we're going to talk to Matthew Stafford. We are big Stafford guys. Everyone knows that. The question this year was, could he stay healthy? How would he perform? Would it look like it was time to retire? the answers to those questions have, for the most part, been answered. We'll see how he finishes the season. I think both of us feel like he's on a great trajectory to probably have his best individual season of his career and win the MVP. 35 touchdowns. He's thrown for 3,354 yards, just 4 interceptions. He's been everything that you would hope to would be, maybe times 25 to 30%. I mean, he's been fantastic this season. And he did tell Rich Eisen of ESPN, I guess it was on his, because Rich has his own show, but I guess it was on ESPN. But he said, surely entertain coming back and playing some more if he's healthy. So, I mean, that's kind of what you would expect him to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, a couple of things here. Number one, he's got leverage now, right? Like, and I don't care how long he's been in the league. I looked at him. I think he's made something like $300 million in the NFL. I mean, just a stack on stack on stack. But if somebody wants to give you another 100, sure. And he's got the leverage to go do it right now. So I'm sure that he and his team of people are probably saying, look, this is the time to do it, because I am on my way to an MVP. I am on my way to probably another playoff run, and we'll see what it looks like. And then there's just the second part of it. He's really good still. Why wouldn't you want to keep playing? Like, this is one of the things that, and Aaron Donald walking away made some sense, as surprising as it was. Doing what Aaron Donald does hurts, right? Like, every single game that you're just in this incredibly violent atmosphere. Quarterbacks don't really live in that world. They can get hurt, they can get hit, but it's not where every play you're getting your head cracked. It's not like that. Whether that's here in LA, hopefully, or whether somebody else think about the teams that had an opportunity to jump on him last year and they just didn't do it. I think he's proven he doesn't need to be at camp. He knows what's up. He knows the system, so he can kind of pick and choose his offseason stuff. And he looks here's the biggest thing to me, Doug, is when you watch him play, doesn't it look like he's having a hell of a time? Like, he's having so much fun out there. And I get it. Winning is fun. Throwing it to Puka Nacua and Davante Adams is fun. Having 2 running backs that can take a little bit of the workload off is fun. But we watch other guys, and it looks like they're in the middle of the most miserable experience of their life. He never looks like that. So, yeah, him coming back wouldn't surprise me at all. I hope he stays in LA, because when it's good, let's keep it going as good as long as you possibly can. I'm shocked that we are where we are, but this doesn't look like the flame is starting to flicker. He looks like he's going as strong as we've ever seen him before.
Yeah, and I think that's a factor for sure. The fun factor is something for me, because it means he's still enjoying it. It means that it's still fulfilling to him, but also, when you're injured and you're playing through injury, you're not looking like you're having fun. You may still be effective. You may still be able to get the job done, but you're not smiling out there. You're not enjoying yourself. So to me, the big takeaway there is it just proves that he's healthy. It proves that he's in a good spot physically, which is the most important thing for me as far as gauging his future. But he would also say, you got to finish out the season where it takes you. And like you said, he said, I'm enjoying every moment that I have right now. We'll see how it goes, but I'm just enjoying where my feet are right now, having a blast playing ball with this group, and we'll figure out the future when we get there. Now, I didn't watch this interview. I'll probably go back and watch this, but I'm pretty shocked, because we know Rich Eisen really good at kind of putting them on their toes a little bit. I'm surprised that he didn't hit him with, okay, but let's paint this scenario. It's the Super Bowl, and the Rams are down by 5 points with 25 seconds left, and you hit Puka Nacua at the buzzer, right, with a bomb to win the Super Bowl. You win the MVP of the Super Bowl after winning the league MVP. You lock up your Hall of Fame. Is there any world where, if things go out in some storybook fashion, would you entertain the idea of hanging him up, or are you still looking to for sure kind of continue your career? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what his response to that would be. Probably be the same exact response, but it'd be interesting to see the look in his eyes when you ask him the question.
Yeah, I think what makes this more complicated than some other scenarios that we've seen, like, look, and you might not know this, Doug, you probably don't, but he and Clayton Kershaw went to the same high school and were friends in high school.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, right? Kershaw was so done, right? Like, he was still able to get it done. He was still able to get some guys out, but you knew that this was it, right? Like, there was just no way that they were running this back, even before he made the announcement that he was done for the 2025 season. Matthew Stafford and Kershaw got the ultimate walk-off shot, right? He had a moment in the World Series that was positive. It ended positively. They win the World Series, back-to-back championships, the whole thing, going to the Hall of Fame, et cetera, et cetera. But he was holding on by his fingernails. Matthew Stafford isn't. Like, I don't like a walk-off shot there. That doesn't feel to me like, okay, peace out. This isn't John Elway, who looked like he was 150 years old when he won his second Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford doesn't look like that. He looks light on his feet. He looks healthy. He looks like he's enjoying it. And if look at this team, and I know it's impossible to repeat in the NFL. It's really, really difficult, but this is a team that's going to be good for a while. I don't understand why you would want to walk away unless you just physically like, man, I don't want to do it anymore. It hurts. It's dangerous. I want to be with my family, et cetera, et cetera. But this isn't man, I just need to get to the finish line. This isn't Aaron Rodgers with a death march to the finish line. This is a guy that is still playing at a high level, looks to be enjoying it. And if he won, man, I'd run back to the start of the line and do it again. But that's just me.
And McVay did say a few weeks ago that he thinks that Matthew Stafford could play 10 more years, which is a stretch, but you understand what he means by that. And contractually, they've kind of taken it year to year, kind of for the last couple of years, as far as just how the contract is laid out. Yes, he is under contract. He's set to make $40 million in 2026, but none of that's guaranteed. They kind of moved it forward, and they can basically structure it where both sides want to go in different directions. They could. Interesting thing about this to me is this, Travis, the Raiders were willing to give him $45 million. If he wins the MVP, if he continues to play like he has this entire season, they win the Super Bowl, my man's worth $50+ million for a team out there as a quarterback. And he could essentially name his price. But I go back to what you said. Dude is he's not searching for that money. I mean, when you have 350, what's the difference? It's kind of happiness over, right. Okay, I have to go in here and be that guy. Well, you mentioned Clayton Kershaw. One of the big reasons why I said for so many years that he would never be a Texas Ranger was because the Dodgers understand his body. They understand expectations. And it doesn't matter if you're semi-realistic as another team. When you bring in a big name to another team, they expect you to be shades of the prime version of that guy, right? Sure. Kershaw didn't want that, right? And I don't think Matthew Stafford kind of wants to go into a whole new organization, learn everything, and work and all that kind of stuff.
Well, think about it like this, too. The thing that we started talking about with the joy that he appears to play with. You ever looked at anybody on the Raiders that looks like they're having a good time? I mean, like Geno Smith looks like he wants to jump into traffic. He looks absolutely miserable. And
the fans.
Right. Like the idea of Matthew Stafford for an extra $5 million going someone else, it doesn't make any sense at all. That's why I really was never super worried about him leaving, because the only reason he wants to stick around is to win more. Sure, you want to make money. I get that, but he wants to win more. There's not a team that's this close to winning that's just a quarterback away that doesn't already have one. The Rams and him are a perfect fit moving forward. I don't care who you draft. You're not drafting a guy better than this, and certainly not one that's better right away. So it's still probably LA or nothing. I'm not worried about him going somewhere else because the Rams are good. The Rams are competitive. The Rams have a great coach. The Rams are familiar. All of the things that you want to check boxes, and they'll pay him. Maybe he's not going to squeeze that last 10% out of the deal that some other team might do it. But to your point, Doug, what difference does it make? I don't need an extra $5 or $8 million when I've already made $300 or $400 million. It doesn't change my life at all. So I'm going to go where I can win, where I can be happy, and that's here in LA.
Totally agree. By the way, I'm on my Instagram live. Say what's up to Travis, guys.
Hey, we're supposed to do
that. Hey, man, I don't know if Locked On's politics, but coming up next, Fernando Mendoza and something Davante Adams said that I think makes a lot of sense as well. That's coming next on Locked On Rams.
NFL Sundays are moving fast, right? One big play, and suddenly everything is different. Really, everything. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it, and you're doing it in real time. Because with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, which means every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment, you can be there for it. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. Think about when the Rams got the ball against Arizona, right? All of a sudden it's like, oh, this is going to get ugly quickly. You can get in on it. A receiver gets hot, the defense tightens up, the momentum flips after that turnover, and FanDuel Let's jump right into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown score, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, here's what you do. You visit FanDuel.com and you place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Travis, in our third segment, we're going to talk about Stafford's new BFF, apparently. Davante Adams. He called Davante a cheat code, and Davante Adams was on Rams Revealed with JB Long. Love JB Long, by the way. Shout out to JB Long. And he told JB, when JB asked him about the possibility of Matthew Stafford playing to his 40s, Davante said, quote, "No, there's no reason why he couldn't or shouldn't. I'm working on that. I'm willing to do this as long as I told him, I actually made a joke. Whenever you stop, I'm done. So it's up to you." So now Davante Adams like, hey, man, we're a package deal. Just throwing himself into that, right? So, hey, look, first of all, he was robbed for the Pro Bowl fan voting right now with being the touchdown leader, not being in the mix. But I think that if you wanted to be a Ram for multiple years, you're doing what you needed to do to put yourself in that conversation if you're Davante Adams.
Oh, yeah. And look, you know, this is one of those mutually beneficial relationships. We talked about this on my radio show the other day, that I know I've mentioned it here on Locked On too. The everyday, so this will sound familiar to you. The greatest wide receiver seasons in history have one thing in common. Matthew Stafford. Calvin Johnson's breaking all the records. Who's throwing him the ball? Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp goes and wins the Triple Crown and Super Bowl MVP. Who's throwing him the ball? Matthew Stafford. Puka Nacua shows up and smashes all of these rookie records. Who's throwing him the ball? Matthew Stafford. Davante Adams has had a great quarterback in his past, right? He played with prime Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty darn good, to be sure. But then he kind of went around and dealt with a bunch of slugs. And then he finally got back to where he belongs, which is with another elite quarterback. He knows what's up. He knows that this guy is a difference maker for him. And especially at this point in Adams' career, why wouldn't you want to? The last thing you want is to try to go deal with somebody that's going to use his word, throw you hospital balls or anything like that. Just, you know, it's perfect. These guys understand each other. They now that they've spent the majority of a part of a season together, they know what the other guy wants. They know what the other guy needs. They can kind of read each other's minds. It took a little bit longer for them to get on that page than maybe some other guys, but they got there. And you're starting to see the benefits of it. So, you know, you don't want a million older players, but with these two guys together, they're both operating at such a high level, despite being in the league for a decent amount of time, that I can understand why neither one of them would want to move forward without the other.
I just think there's a great level of respect between them. Like, yeah. Davante Adams has been great, all pro. Matthew Stafford been great. He's going to win the MVP. So I think there's that level of respect there. It's not like he's just some journeyman veteran. Davante Adams is one of the best receivers in the league for a good amount of time. And I think that is one of the reasons why you didn't force the chemistry early on. They knew it was a process, and it's really worked out. Now, I did say this one to the end because I think this will probably be a bigger topic in the off season, but PFF recommended and suggested that the Rams should trade up for Fernando Mendoza. And Mendoza, Indiana, going to win the Heisman. There's some funny memes out there. He's a great thrower, can have some mobility. His only issue is a dork. Like, I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know if you saw his post-game interview after the Big Ten championship, and to use a Gen Z term, it kind of gave me the ick. Big Ten gyms, but to me, I don't think there's never been a quarterback that has felt less like a Rams quarterback coming out of college than Fernando Mendoza. You need cool factor, okay? I'm just saying it.
Yeah, Heis Mendoza, by the way, is
I haven't heard that yet. That's clean.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty good. The Fernando Heis Mendoza.
That's good.
Look, I'm going to say two things that are opposite each other, but I believe them both to be true. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at when it comes to scouting quarterbacks or anything like that. So if somebody that does do that, in particular Sean McVay and Les Snead, are looking at Fernando Mendoza and thinking, I'll take him. Great. I will defer to their expertise in that. There's also something that when you watch a game, and I'm going to use a guy that I watched a lot in college and somebody that had a very successful college career. When you watch Justin Herbert playing college, you're like, that guy's a pro. That guy's a pro. Like just the way that he moves, how big he is, how strong he is, the way he can throw the ball, the toughness, like that guy's a pro. Fernando Mendoza does not look like a pro to me. It doesn't mean he isn't. I'm just saying that he doesn't just ring your bell like that. Like, I got to get my hands on that guy. So we'll see. This is one of these things that I will always defer to people that do this for a living, especially if Sean McVay likes a quarterback. I think that's an incredibly good sign. So if he likes it, I love it. If he's like, yeah, let's keep moving, let's look somewhere else, then run for the hills. Because when I look at him, I think he's a great college player. I could be totally wrong about his projection to the NFL level, but when I look at him, I don't see something that screams to me that guy's going to murder the NFL. I'm just not seeing it.
I agree. Justin Herbert had that composure, the poise, the stature, the arm strength. I mean, let's freaking start there. But yep. I agree. When you can if you kind of been watching this sport long enough and you've been into it, you can kind of get the feel and the sense from certain guys. And you're always going to be right and wrong sometimes too, right? Sure. And I think when you look at the fact that there's 32 of these guys, but 16 of them are average to above average, that's when the microscope gets super, super in depth. And that's why I ask myself this question. Just ask yourself the question. Close your eyes. Is Fernando, do you want to give the keys to the Rams organization to Fernando Mendoza? For me, in the words of the great Randy Jackson, that's a no for me, dog. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I can't, I don't know. I just don't see it. That's just me though.
I don't either, Doug, but here's the thing I'll say. If the Rams, fast forward to when's the draft in April or whatever it is, April, May, and with the Rams have traded, they have the Atlanta pick. So with the third pick in the draft, the Rams decide to take Fernando. I'd be like, okay, if they like it, I love it. I'm with you. When I look at it right now, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like,
well, you got to trade up, get draft capital, and Stafford's coming back. So you would still, if I'm Stafford, I'd be like, why would I come back if you're going to use that draft capital on a guy who can help us win? So that's kind of the thing. That's kind of more thing. There's no slide. I actually think Fernando Mendoza is a great, on the way here, I talked to some Indiana. They're cool. But I just think that for me, it's kind of more big picture. And I don't know. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel as far as like, he needs to be special with a capital S. And I just don't necessarily feel that for me.
If it's Andrew Luck, if it's Justin Herbert, if it's Cam Newton, if it's one, like, yeah, sure. I'll take that.
Cam Moore last year, felt like a pro at Miami. It's like, he has a lot of developing to do. But I mean, look the year that Jackson Dart had this year, and the rumors that the Rams were interested in Jackson Dart.
Now, okay, I think Dart's a good example because when I watched Dart, I'm like, okay, he's good. But I didn't think like, oh my God, I got to have that. It was like, he's good. And maybe he'll be a very good NFL quarterback. He's certainly tough and he's crazy and all the things that you're looking at. But to me, he's more like Mendoza than some other guys, like really good. And I'm intrigued, but I'm going to need somebody far more, plugged in than me to evaluate whether or not
I think Dante Moore ends up being the best QB coming out. I really do. Here's my quick take on Dante Moore. And this is completely off. Is his best throw is better than any current college quarterback's best throw. So it's just about having him throw more of his best throws and limiting those mistakes. Like he's a really, like he has, like you could say that Patrick Mahomes said it's like his favorite college quarterback to watch. And I know you're an Oregon fan. I don't know if you're like a fully committed Oregon fan or Oregon fan adjacent, but you watch a lot of Dante Moore and there's some variance into his game, but I still believe that he has a lot of extremely high upside.
Yeah, look, I liked how you phrased that because I think it's the most generous that I'm going to get with this. There's a lot of variance in his game. There's some very good moments, but there's a lot of stuff that makes you go, whoa, what who's that guy? Like that where did that guy come from? So I don't know. I'm going to defer to the experts. And there's not one quarterback in college football this year that I look at and go, I want that one. There is
Arch Manning didn't become that guy, right? Yeah.
Arch Manning couldn't be that.
Can you tell your boy Dante Moore? Can you tell your boy Dante Moore to at least send a thank you text to Troy Aikman for that NIL money? Did you see this?
No.
Did you see that? And Troy Aikman said that Troy Aikman said he cut a big NIL check to UCLA, but he's never doing it again because he never got a thank you or anything. And we all know who that NIL check was for. It was for Dante Moore. And he didn't send him a thank you, nothing. Come on, Dante. Cool. This ain't, we gotta take advantage right now. We don't got Uncle Phil up there that says like blank checks for everyone, man. Jeez, but that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams, though. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_late. Follow the people say Mr. Travis Rogers at Travis Rogers, and tune in to his radio show, DeMarco and Travis on ESPN LA from 3 to 6. Drive time. Tune in over on YouTube as well. That's going to do it. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.